Have y'all seen this video going around? It's a real short video, but the caption is the point. She says, imagine this. The trad wife life didn't work out. You have a 10-year gap in your resume, 4 kids that need to be taken care of while he's off living with another woman. So now you're at the food stamps office trying to see when your application will be approved. This is rough. This is rough. And this is the reason why, even when you get married, a man should not be the center of your universe, because a man could literally up and take himself out of the equation, pull himself out, go over there, but your life that you created with him would still need to go on. And you are setting yourself up for the okey doke if you have not created some plan B, C, D, F, all of that. All of that. I can speak a little on this because I was actually a stay at home mom, not pulling in an income for several years. But there's a difference. I never saw myself being a trad wife or a stay at home mom or a housewife ever. It's just that the economy, the cost of childcare, how much you work part time and have to bring in order to make it make sense. It just didn't make sense to go back to work. So we switched up, and my husband was the provider, and I was a stay at home mom. The difference, though, since I was a college educated woman with a background, I have work experience, and I kept my certifications active. If anything were to happen, I could still go back to work. I was still taking clients, just just a few clients. I was still able to work virtually because I was still able to keep my certifications up and running because I was a personal trainer. Also, I was consistently trying to think up hustles to where I was still making some money or staying active or just something. Never at any particular time in my life have I ever thought that just sitting back and allowing someone to take care of me was a good plan, because you could be in love, all that could be going well, but you just never know. And so this happened, and this does happen, because you know why this happens? Because a lot of these people, these XYs, do not see our humanity. They do not see women's humanity, and they think that we are replaceable like an appliance. And you go and you switch out your appliance. You go and change out your car. You go and upgrade your wardrobe. They don't see us as humans. And so that's how they are able to pick one up, put it over there, pick another one up and put it in her place, because we're replaceable. That is the reason why you have got to put yourself at the center of your own story. Some of the comments on her post, this is actually one of my mutuals, Dream Speak Life. She says, ma'am, I need you to stop telling my business. She says, 10 years stay at home mom, 3 kids, 1 in college now. He moved in with his mistress and is not paying child support. Got approved though. Gianna said to her that child support will be there forever, even if he's waiting for them to turn 18. It stays on the books until it's paid. Dream Speak Life says he's just attempting to be an inconvenience, not knowing that I've been count him out. This is another reason why being in a relationship is cool when both parties are on the same page, working towards the same goals, but it should never be the end all be all, because when it falls apart, you do not want to fall apart with it. This person says, I was a trad wife, but I got my degree before I had my son. And thank goodness, because yep, he left me too. And then she says, he left when my son was 10 months old because he didn't feel like answering to anyone. Our son is almost 5 and he hasn't seen him since he left. Belia says, no offense, but how do you not know he's a sociopath already? And then someone responds with, sociopaths don't just go around saying that they're sociopaths. Like, are these people really that obtuse? Like, you really think that? Okay. Anyways, but my whole point is the whole trad wife life. It looks cool. the outfits are cool, they're wearing their makeup, and it might seem cool to just think that you're just going to cook and clean, but that's still hard work. And if a man takes himself out of the equation, you're still left holding the bag. And you really have got to think about your kids and your own future. If you have to restart after putting that big old gap in your resume, how are your bills going to get paid? Please explain. You have got to have a survival instinct. You've got to have some survival instinct. The soft life is cool, I guess. But if you do not have some plan B, C, D, E, then you're going to consistently be, trying to stay in his good favor and make sure he doesn't walk out on you. And that breeds desperation and stress. Liz says, 6 kids, helped build our company, did the trad wife life, now divorced, rebuilding with my 6 kids. I really hope that people see why this is kind of dangerous and why you have got to at least, think of yourself and have some survival skills, have a degree before you get married. And I really hope that we start reaching more and more 20 something year olds, because, that we got to stop them from glamorizing this, because once you are outside of that range, it gets hard. And so you should be spending your time, building up your experience and all of that. But sometimes a hard head makes for a soft behind. Okay, so this person at the bottom, so someone had asked what a trad wife was, and somebody else said it's a traditional wife. You're not working outside the home, so your husband takes care of making all the money. But if you aren't prepared, you can be left in serious trouble. And that person was like, thank you for explaining. Um, so, and then this person at the bottom says, trad wife and stay-at-home wife are not necessarily the same thing. Like, I was a stay-at-home mom, but I'm not a trad wife. I'm not thinking that this is the end all be all. Trad wives are usually centering their husband, like they center men and you orbit them. No. Stay-at-home moms, sometimes we are thinking about survival just in case, what happens, blah, blah, blah. Please do not be left unprepared, because you got to think about your kids first and foremost. This person says, to be honest, I'm a trad wife and I regret not going back to work. It's been 16 years. While being at home has some benefits, it's a huge risk. The original creator says, start by getting your ish in order now so you can leave. Don't stay a trad wife. So this person says, to be honest, I'm a trad wife and I regret not going back to work. It's been 16 years. While being at home has some benefits, it's a huge risk. And the original creator says, start by getting your ish in order now so you can leave. Don't stay a trad wife. And then the next 2 people, I suppose, are men. Why are you telling people to walk away from their relationships you know nothing about? And imagine telling someone to leave for no reason. You just mad you got left. Understand that men will never understand the sacrifices and the risks that women have to take. So it's best to never, ever listen to them for relationship advice. Just don't. There's a risk inherent with listening to them, because they are always going to body block for the brotherhood, period. They are going to go hard and stay on code. Ladies, you are the main character of your story. Act like it and do what you have to for your survival and survival of your children. All right, so there's that. Y'all let me know what you think about it. Now listen to this woman's story.
It's getting better. The reason why I'll never fully depend on a man is because it's not fun when they take your lifestyle away from you. And one of the girls I follow was talking about this. She was saying how she would never be a stay-at-home girlfriend again without her own income. And it made me reflect on my experiences with that and how I'm never doing that again. When I was in college, my parents paid all of my bills. They paid for my apartment that I was in. I left college. The boyfriend that I had at the time, I moved in with him, and he paid all the bills. He bought me a car. He did everything. I didn't even have a job at the time when I was with him, and I will never do that again. But when we broke up, I didn't have any place to live. I went back and lived with my parents, and he kept the car. That was one of the only times in my life where I didn't have a job, because I've had a job since I was 15 when I could start working. But the only other time I didn't work was when I was a stay-at-home mom for a little bit when I was married. So when I was married, I worked, but I also was a stay-at-home mom for a little bit when my kids were babies. And that was interesting. My husband at the time paid all the bills. I was working. I bought like groceries, like little small things, stuff for the kids, house decor, things like that. Like I was not paying major bills. On the time that we started to have problems and were going towards divorce, I was actually working at Nordstrom as an assistant manager. So obviously Nordstrom is retail. I did not have normal hours. And I was making pretty good money working there. But then I knew that our marriage was about to be over, and I was going to have to get a job that worked with my kids' schedule, like Monday through Friday. Like I couldn't work until 10 p.m. at night anymore. I took a major pay cut. I went from being an assistant manager to being like a front desk receptionist just so I could have Monday through Friday hours. I was making $13.50 an hour. The defining moment where I knew like this was it, like I have to move out, I left. It was when my husband at the time made a comment about how he earned all the money. And that was it for me. I was like, all right. That same weekend, I put all of my stuff in storage and moved back in with my parents until I could get an apartment of my own. This was back in like 2015. And that's when I first started paying my own bills. I should have learned my lesson from the boyfriend that I was with who paid for everything. And I didn't. But let me tell you what, after me and my ex-husband got divorced, I'll never fully put my life in a man's hands. Nothing feels better than coming into my own home that I made a home. Everything that is in this house is here because of me, and nobody can take that away from me. You know, all this sprinkle talk, it sounds nice and it can work, but I think you also have to be mindful of all the other situations that could happen if you decide to put your life in a man's hands. I personally will not be doing that ever again. Oh, and I think my skin is getting better.